Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
The young legend.
Tony Award-winning Myles Frost.
Man.
Welcome, brother.
How you feeling?
How you feeling, man?
How are you,
blessed.
brother? If y'all don't know Myles Frost's name, I don't know where you've been, but he is the star of MJ the Musical on Broadway, which I saw last week, Friday. Let me tell you something, man. That was absolutely... I do a lot of Broadway. I've never seen anything like MJ the Musical. Ever. I've never seen anything like it in my life, and you were absolutely, positively phenomenal, my brother.
Thank you, man. I know that means the absolute word, man. I wanted to bring something different, to this atmosphere because I was so new to it. I was so green when I came in. I'd done some musical theater in high school, but being that I was so new to it, I was like, what is something that I can add, to this to make it an experience that nobody's ever seen before, and I was like, what is some things that I can do that nobody else has ever done, and nobody can replicate. So
now, I got a lot of questions for you, but the first question, before we get to who you are, what is your vertical leap?
That's all he's been talking about all week. He was like, he could jump so high. I'm sure he was dunking in third grade.
You know what? It's not that much. It's not that I can touch rim. That's
You can't dunk?
Nah.
I don't believe that, Myles. I refuse to believe. I refuse to accept that.
I can't.
Apply yourself.
Apply yourself. I need to, man. I need to strengthen my legs.
Word. Well, let's start from the beginning before you get into all your questions. How did you get started into this industry? What made you want to be an actor? What made you want to do Broadway and plays? My parents, I didn't see it yet. I'm gonna see it next time when I get back. But my parents seen it and they absolutely, positively loved it because I'm bringing my whole family. And they were telling me where to sit so that I can actually see the footwork. Because it was like in some seats you can't, like they planned it out and everything. They was like, there's some seats you can't see the footwork. You got to see the footwork. So they were very excited. So where did the start come from?
I want to be an artist. I've always wanted to be an artist. That's always been my main focus. Growing up in a predominantly black area, I grew up in, between Southeast DC and Prince George's County, Maryland. And, theater was never something that I really grew up around, or if you want to expand that, things such as like depression and anxiety and mental health and all of those things weren't talked about in my household or in my school or in my area. So when I got to high school, I moved to a predominantly white area, went to a predominantly white high school, and that's when I was introduced to all of these things, and theater included. And I was playing piano. I'm self-taught. I've been playing by ear since I was like 6, and I was in the chorus room at my high school just playing around, and this teacher comes in. She's like, I hope there's a voice behind that piano playing. And I was like, yeah. She's like, good, because we need more black kids for this play that we're doing. I was like what? Like, I don't know anything about that. So I'm like, what's the play? She's like, the play is Hairspray. And I was like, she's like, I know you don't know much about it, but go home and watch the movie. There's a movie out about it, right? Cool. Went home. I was like, Mom, can you watch this movie with me? She said, what's the movie? I said, Hairspray. She said, what you know about Hairspray? I was like, nothing, absolutely nothing. So watched the movie, saw this guy go, hey, I can't see, but people look at me and only. I was like, I want to be that dude. I don't know. He was doing splits and all that type of stuff. I was like, that I feel like that speaks to me. I went, auditioned for it, got the part, and it was kind of history from there because that was the first time I sang and danced on stage, and I was like, I love how this feels. I started doing the talent shows, right? So my freshman year, did a talent show. I did Fine China by Chris Brown. Love that song.
Embarrassing those white children.
For sure.
No,
so I did it. So I did that. I won that talent show. I was like, I can really do this, So skip to my junior year. I was like, I want to do something that's more iconic. So I did Billie Jean, not knowing that this would be the thing that, is the reason why I'm here. Did Billie Jean, won that talent show. And my mom always recorded everything with her iPad. It was terrible quality at the time, but she still recorded it and like posted it on YouTube. But not for content as we know as content today, but just, for my family to access and things of that nature. So fast forward to high school. So I left, college. I left theater behind in high school, had, enjoyed my time with it. And I was like, I want to focus on getting my degree in audio engineering, and I want to focus on being an artist, Pandemic hit, nobody's really performing, they were trying to figure out that space. And I decided I wanted to take acting lessons, and by that time, like my senior year of high school, I was on The Voice, for season 13, I was in my first movie. I played a role of a 15-year-old kid with autism, which was very, very deep. That's when I fell in love with acting. It wasn't necessarily through theater, but it was through that for my first film role of doing that, because that was the first time I had to do research and my due diligence and making sure that I represent this character and all that this character stands for with the utmost, responsibility. And, I wanted to do it as, just to the best of my ability. And I also, throughout my research, met this kid named Titus who has autism and Down syndrome. And I was talking to his mom just kind of about his struggles and things of that nature. So that just really inspired me with acting. Decided to take acting lessons in college. And only had 4 sessions with this guy named Leland Thompson, who was my acting coach at the time. And the morning of my sister's birthday, May 27th, 2021, he wakes up, calls me at 9 in the morning. I'm like, I don't know, you like this for you to be calling me at 9 in the morning. And he's like, man, I know this is crazy. I know this is out the blue, but you just were on my mind. And the first thing I did was look your name up on YouTube. And the first thing that popped up was Myles Frost doing Billie Jean. He said I was crazy because I have this opportunity I think you'd be great for. And at the time, it was presented to me as like doing it was like the UK production of Michael Jackson musical or something like that, right? And I was like, okay, it was for the understudy position. So that's what I was told. And I was like, if I do this, like I'm gonna try to go for the lead. I didn't really know how how the process was. I'm like, I'm gonna make them wish that they cast me as a lead, not knowing that this was actually what I was going out for. Went through the process, sent in some auditions and things like that, because they wanted an audition he asked for an audition that night, and I was like, wait, what he asked me was, he said, can you still do all the stuff that you did in the video, but like better since you're older now? And I was like, yeah.
When the last time you did it?
When I was 16. And then that talent show
had no time between that.
No.
Wow.
So you were splitting, moonwalking, spinning, and all that?
Yeah, I'm self-taught, all of that. My first dance lesson was after I got MJ.
Wow.
Okay, continue with the story. This is great.
So he says, like, is tonight okay? I said, how's tomorrow night? He said, that's fine. I said, cool. So I called my manager at the time. I said, easy, yo, I need you to, like, I need a studio yesterday. He was like, got you. The earliest I can get you is 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. I said, bet, I'm there. I was in the studio from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I didn't even eat that day, just going through Michael's catalog, going through his dance moves, like just studying the vocabulary, looking back at my video, looking at Motown 25. I probably watched Motown 25 over 100 times.
Wow.
Trying to just recreate and make sure I got all the nuances, as many nuances that I could get, to send in the video. And they also send in a few songs for me to learn, like Stranger in Moscow, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And they don't care about us because those show different aspects of Michael's voice. You got the grit, then you got the soulfulness of Stranger in Moscow, then you got his falsetto. I was like, okay. So I sent them a video of me learning. They wanted to see me learning the music because if I don't already sound like him, then it's kind of no point, right? So I sent in like a little clip of me singing Stranger in Moscow. They loved it. We sent in a whole package. They asked me to come to New York for an in-person audition. And it was a 2-day process. The first day, this is crazy. The first day, it was a workshop. It was a dance workshop where we actually learned Billie Jean choreography from the show. It's about an hour session. 15 minutes go by. I'm like, it's getting a little hot. It's like, what's going on? 20 minutes. I'm like, all right, let me look at myself in the mirror real quick. My face is red. I'm like, I'm about to have an allergic reaction. Like, I know what this feels like. So I say, all right, gotta go.
Allergic reaction to what?
I think it was the dust in the studio.
Got you.
Right? And I've never had like a dust allergic reaction before. Because I didn't really eat none that day, but like a slice of pizza that I normally get when I come to New York, right? And so I was there just long enough for me to learn it, right? But my plan was to learn it, then record it, study it, so I can do it the next day. That was the whole plan.
Right.
So I left, run downstairs. I'm like, yo, I got to go to a CVS like right now. So run over to the CVS. I'm looking for a Zyrtec. I get 2 Zyrtec. I get 2 Benadryl. I get a Zyrtec. I'm taking them in the store before, you know how we do, before we buy it, scan it, whatever. Run back to the hotel. I'm in the shower for like 3 hours. My body's broken out. I have bad eczema. So my skin is broken out in hives. It got little welts everywhere. And then when I get hives, my eczema reacts to it. And then it's kind of like you got itching on top and underneath the skin. So it was really bad, really, really bad. In the shower, come out the shower, I'm tired. 2 Benadryl is gonna knock you out. So as soon as I hit the bed, I knock out. Wake up, it's like 12:45. I'm like, damn.
How much time has gone by?
Too much time.
Too much time?
No, it's the next day.
Oh, it's the next day?
I slept.
Oh, wow.
I slept. Like, it's
Okay.
12 p.m., 12:45 p.m. Audition's at 2:30. So I'm like, all right, I need to get up, and I need to, like, I don't even drink coffee like that. I went and got a coffee, and I was like, all right, I got to get this straight. Go to the where my audition is. There's a whole panel of people, like Lynn Nottage, Christopher Wilden, Leah Voller, all these people. I have no idea who anybody is. And I walk in, I was like, how you doing? You know, my name is Myles Frost, and I'll be auditioning for MJ the Musical. And Chris was like, we know. I was like, all right. He said, what do you want to start with? And me just kind of just being in the moment, I was like, whatever. And I didn't know at the time that Chris was a ballet extraordinaire. You know, his claim to fame is, you know, directing American in Paris. So of course he's gonna say, I said, I don't care, you know, I'm fine with whatever. He says, okay, well, let's do the dance. Sure. My mom got me this white fedora, right? So I turn around trying to get myself in the character. Then it dawns on me, I never practiced this.
Holy shoot.
I never had it. I never recorded it. I never looked at it. I have no idea what's about to come out. So I said, God, if you're listening right now, just get me through this one time.
Right.
You put the music on, and it's give me a smooth groove. Boom. I do all of the choreography, step by step. I didn't miss a beat.
Is that the scene when you take the hat out the box?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But you know, this is before all the
Gotcha,
theatrics of it,
gotcha.
so we just kind of went right into it. And when I finished, I was like, God, I pray that they don't ask me to do it twice, because I'm not gonna be able to do that twice. Like, so didn't ask me to do it again. It's great. Went on to the singing, did some singing. They were very happy that I could do the songs in the original key. And then went on to some of the scene work. Finished that. Said, you know, said my goodbyes and everything. Probably about 3 or 4 days later, I got a request to do a Zoom call with Christopher Wilden, the director, and the assistant director, Dr. King. And we went through some more scene work to see how well I take direction and things of that nature. And then at the end of that conversation, Chris was like, we'd love to offer you the role of MJ. Oh, and this is Broadway, by the way.
Wow.
I was like, oh, here I am thinking I'm going on, like, cause like when I'm auditioning, I leave everything on the floor. Like whoever got to come after me, you know, they gonna have to put some elbow grease into they audition. So I was like, you know, it was a lot to take in at the time. He's like, you don't have to answer right now, but just, you know, when you're ready, let us know.
How long it took you to answer?
A couple days.
Okay.
A couple days.
What you had to do? Like talk to your team, talk to your...
Yeah. But I think for me, it was more me than anything, because I was when he said it, I was very, very happy. My mom wasn't home at the time, but my sister was, and I ran into my sister about to be 18 in May. I said, Morgan, I got it, and we were cheering, you know, doing our thing. About 5 minutes later, man, I found myself in a weird place that I've never been before, emotionally and mentally. I always call this the first time I felt myself maturing in real time. And I was like, I'm 21 right now at this point. The Michael that they're asking me to portray is in his 30s. This is dangerous, Michael. You know, I'm like, he's been through so many things up until this point. I'm like, at 21, am I believable? Will people look at me and and take me seriously telling the story? You know, and this is forget the singing, forget the dancing, forget how I look on stage, right? We're talking about the ability to tell the story, a believable story, a story that, you know, people are going to hopefully take something away from. I was questioning myself, and then I just got to a point where I'm like, God's not going to dangle this in front of me and just kind of tease me with it, you know, and I was like, you know, I'm just not going to second guess myself anymore. I'm just take it and go and just put my all and just do my best.
Man, I'm sitting there thinking like, man, you really are a child prodigy. You said you taught yourself how to play piano, and you didn't learn that you could sing until high school?
So I mean, I had a band in middle school.
Okay.
It's a crazy story about how I started that. I was at my aunt's wedding, and when I was in 7th grade. I was at my aunt's wedding.
Do that little dance you do, Myles.
Not even. There was that. I mean, but not anybody had to ask me to do it. I was just, if I saw a dance floor, I was like, bet. And I just got up and did it. So, but there was a grand piano, and I love beautiful grand pianos, right? And I couldn't stop looking at it. I was like, Ma, please let me go play it. Right? And it was just off in the corner. It wasn't in front of everybody. It was just off in the corner. And she's like, go ahead, you know, you can do it. Went over there, I was just playing. I was probably playing with Alicia Keys. And this guy comes over. He's like, man, you sound like really good. He's like, look, my name is Blue. I'm CeeLo Green's manager. And like, start a band and, you know, get get comfortable, do some performances. Excuse me, and then, you know, come back to me. I said, bet. That ain't nothing but a word. Went back to my school. My friend Michael, who played for the church, played for drums for his church. I said, hey, you want to start a band? He was like, bet. He was like, let's name it Genesis. I said, we're not naming this shit Genesis. And I said, so I came up with Fresh Flights, because I was like, we all fresh and we taking flight. That was my whole thing, right? And my mom was like, well, we need a female bass player. I want you to have a female bass player. Like, I just feel like that's cool. My mom loved bass. So we did that. It was like, you know, my little crew. Then we got my cousin to be the lead singer. This is before I was singing for real. So fast forward, I think I started singing around 8th grade. So it was right before I went to high school. I started singing more in my group. And but I wasn't trained. I wasn't vocally trained at all. Actually, my first time being vocally trained was my senior year of high school when I went to The Voice. That was my first time being like vocally trained, like getting prepared for that. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where my life was during that time. So, you know, I stopped second guessing myself, and I just did it. And I was like, because I'm so new to this, I'm like, I have an opportunity that a lot of people I feel like don't really have. One, you know, this is Michael Jackson the musical within itself, so it's already something that's unique coming to Broadway. And two, I'm Myles Frost, and I know that there's something unique about me. I can't, you know, it's hard to, you know, when you're in your body, you can't really see what you, but you know, you feel it. You feel what everybody else say that they see. So I'm like, whatever that is, I want to try to make it tangible. I want to try to manifest it on the stage. So, you know, and I appreciate, and I'll always say this, I really appreciate Lynn Nottage and Christopher Wooden for giving me the creative freedom that they did to try things. You know, because the Thriller that you saw, right, that was something, some of those elements that I added were in the moment. Like, they were, like, over the course of as I've been doing the show, like, that number has evolved into what you saw, you know, especially from when we started. And, you know, I was just thinking of, like, how can I just lift myself and make it seem as though, like, I'm on strings or something, you know? Just trying to find, because here's the thing, when you got somebody, when you have a fan, right, who comes to you and says, yeah, this is my 40th time seeing the show, you go, I know how it feels to see something 3 times. I know how it feels to see a movie 3 times. It's like after a certain point, you kind of like know what to expect. So I'm like, I want to be able to add a new element every time for these people who come to the show so often. I want them to be so excited to see what I'm going to do next, because it's always going to be something different that I do.
I'm going somewhere with this. So was that Thriller scene tough to do? Because I don't know what your relationship is with your father. I just keep.
It was very tough. The whole thing and stuff. But that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people come to me and like, oh my God, like I felt the essence of Mike. I felt, you know, his spirit. Like when you were in those scenes, like it felt like, you know, it felt real. Like if I felt you, and I'm like, because it is. I don't do nothing that doesn't feel authentic. That's always been me. That's my authenticity has been my thing throughout this entire journey, being myself, just being me, being authentic. If I feel like crying in a scene, I'm going to do that. If I don't feel like crying and I'm more angry, I'm going to show that. And that could vary from show to show, you know, but I allow myself the grace to feel those things. It don't feel like I have to, it's like singing a song the same way every single time. I feel like feeling like you're obligated to sing that song exactly how you recorded it. You don't have to do that. All right. You sing how you feel. That's the whole point.
How was preparation, learning all those Michael Jackson songs and moves? How long did they give you or actually till it was showtime?
6 months. Here's the thing. My motivation for that was, is that Chadwick right there? Max says.
Yes, sir. Rest in peace, Chadwick.
Chadwick, yeah.
Chadwick is one of my biggest inspirations, man. And Chadwick did learn James Brown in 6 months. And then didn't find out until later, that he had cancer. And learned James Brown in 6 months. And I'm like, that as a whole, I have no excuse. I have absolutely no excuse. You know, and I know it's film, you know, but I'm like, I'm not even gonna try to start nitpicking. I'm just like, this is what it is, and I have no excuse but to do it like how you did.
Well, your degree of difficulty is harder. No disrespect to anybody that does films,
for sure.
But you don't get a second chance on
you
that
get
stage.
takeover
at all.
You know,
do over. I mean,
yeah.
I love the Thriller thing because it showed the whole play shows the relationship between Joe Jackson and Michael, but the Thriller scene was, you know, really like wow, because Joe was the monster.
Yeah.
In the Thriller scene. So was that, did that bring up any old traumas for you?
you know, me and my father don't have the best relationship, you know, but my thing is like, my therapist told me something that I'll never forget. He's like, because I used to have anger issues when I was younger because of my, you know, my situation with my father. I couldn't understand it. You know, I'm his only child. And I don't understand why our relationship is like this. He said, your father is the best father you could ask for because he's an example of everything that you should not be. Just do the opposite. And I'm like, I didn't realize that a lot of the men that I've had in my life that weren't, you know, necessarily positive role models in my life, I've naturally just always done the opposite of what I've seen because I've wanted to be a provider, because I knew that there was something more that I could bring to the table to support my family, you know, and I know what kind of father I want to be. But through therapy and through growing up and maturing, you know, you realize that you don't live forever, you know, and people don't live forever. You know, certain opportunities do die, you know, and I would hate for the opportunity for reconciliation to die with the passing of either myself or my father. So I'm like, I always leave the door open for that possibility. Because why create that barrier? Now I'm gonna love you from a distance because, you know, we've gotten to a point where that energy is just not, you know, it doesn't serve me, you know, in a positive light, especially when I'm trying to focus on my career, focus on providing for my family, right? But I will leave that door open for when the time is right, whenever God says, hey, this is the time that you need to go ahead and do this. And I feel that I'm more than willing
You'll get
to
there.
have that conversation.
Yeah, I learned. You'll get there because I learned through therapy that, you know, you got to give your parents grace.
Yeah.
Because, you know, my father was just doing the best he could with what he had in the moment, you know. And I did both things. I did the opposite of what he did, but I also did what he did.
Yeah.
And then when you do what he did, you realize, like, this is not what I want to live. And that's kind of strange for a young child too, because you like, Pops was wrong. Your first superhero was absolutely positively wrong. That's a hard pill to swallow.
It is, you know, and it affected my mom and I's relationship. You know, we would have bad arguments, and then I would look back, I'm like, every time I heard them talk on the phone, that's what I heard. That was how they communicated. And the only time that they would come together and be cordial is when I was in the hospital.
Wow.
You know, and I said, I don't want that for my future. You know, I don't want that to, if that's my child lane. I want, you know, I don't want that to be the type of relationship that they witness or the type of relationship that they think is normal. You know, so.
Did your dad get to see you play in the play?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. But, you know, I have reached out, and, you know, I will again and say, you know, hey, you know, got some tickets for you. Like, you ain't even got to pay for these tickets, man. Just let me know you want to come. If you got some time. You know, because that's just how I feel, man. I feel like my grandma will be 90 in May, and she's still in her right mind, and still driving. We can't take. It's hard to take the keys. We trying to take the keys, and she's like, "Look, if I want to get a fish sandwich, I'm gonna go up there up the street and get a fish sandwich and go to church. All she want to do is get a fish sandwich and go to church." But she is a huge advocate. I think that's why I put so much pressure on myself to be where I am so young, is because I've always wanted my grandma to at the very, very least, see me off into my career, you know, before God calls her. And, you know, I know that's what she's always wanted. And I'm like, I have to give that to her, you know. And I always said that if I don't get my big break by 21, then I'm in the wrong profession. So I've been working hard since I was young, man, to trying to make this work. And lo and behold, 2 months before my 22nd birthday, God said, here you go.
Wow.
Wow.
What were you in the hospital for?
I had that was back when I was in high school, and I had a hydrocele. I was working out, and it's like when fluid, it's kind of nasty, but it's like when an abundance of fluid goes around your testicle, and, you know, it just makes it just not comfortable.
You had swollen balls?
Pretty much.
We called that blue ball back in my day. That's what we called that back in my day.
Back in the 1900s over there.
Who did that to you, Myles?
Man, you know, it's these women out here, man.
Now, listen, do you feel an obligation to have to perform in every play because folks are talking about how great you are? I've been hearing about MJ the Musical for at least the past 6 months. People are like, make sure when you go and Myles Frost is there. So do you feel an obligation to be in every show? Because that's not an easy show to do.
Yeah, but I created that.
Okay.
You know, I know that's kind of what comes with when you give yourself the task of creating something that you feel like nobody else can replicate or at least makes it very, very hard for somebody to replicate. You know, and you add that element of that thing. You know, it's got that thing that I love seeing when he does the thing that he does, right? When you add that element and then you're not there, people are like, I want to go see the thing, but you know, when he does the thing, but he's not there to do the thing. So I definitely feel that obligation. But I mean, I have great coverage. Like, going through this process has made me respect swings and understudies way. Like I could never do that. That's too much. You think is a lot of anxiety playing Michael Jackson. Imagine being tasked with being the understudy for Michael Jackson and not knowing when you have to go on.
Wow.
Until like the day of, or like an hour before, or mid show.
Wow.
And to have
You walked out mid show?
I've had to, because my voice just left.
Wow.
Just left, and I'm like,
wow,
what the hell?
You know,
and it's scary.
But playing Michael Jackson, people probably think that's part of the show. Because Michael's always looked so different throughout the year. You know, I'm serious. I'm serious. People might just think that's part of the show.
Probably, you know, but and what I've appreciated is, I think when you set a good foundation for yourself, it gives room for people to give you grace, because I've never gotten flack for leaving mid-show. It's always, are you okay? It's never like he just did half of the show and left. Like, because like I would hope that I put so much into, like, even if I do leave mid-show, I always put my all into every performance. I don't care who's in the audience. I don't pick and choose. You know, oh, so-and-so's in the audience, let me put a little, like, everybody gets the same show, because it's not fair. People are people, you know what I'm saying? People, if you look at people for who they are as individuals, everybody got their own thing that they're going through, you know, celebrity or not.
You had a lot of famous people at your shows. Not one time did you be like, this person's in the building, or made you feel away?
Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder is the only person who I put a little extra sauce on, and it's the funniest thing in the world, right? You would think.
I know, because he can't see.
Exactly.
Yes.
But he can hear.
And I know there's something in me that said, Myles, you gotta like make sure that he feels like this performance, like to the utmost.
Right.
You know, and I know Michael is his boy. You know, he's written songs for Michael.
That's actually a harder performance.
Absolutely.
That's
Because
what I'm
Stevie
saying.
sees something that we don't see. He may not see this, but he sees energies and auras that we don't see.
And that's a different level of anxiety when you're about to perform, because you don't know what it is. You don't know what that thing is that he feels that nobody else can feel, or can sense that nobody else can see.
Did you speak to him after?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, he loved it.
He
loved it, and you know, we've been having some conversations. You know, so I'm hoping that I can spend a little bit more time with him and just learn. You know what I'm saying? I'm a sponge, man. I'm a sponge. Like, any room I walk into, I'm seeing what I can absorb, you know, from the people that I'm talking to, what I can learn, what I can apply to, you know, because had a conversation with Sway not too long ago just about Beyonce's work ethic. And, you know, I feel like that Michael Beyonce work, it's dying, man.
Oh yeah.
It's dying. And
you don't need it anymore.
But I disagree.
To be a star, sadly. No,
to be a star. No, absolutely correct. You know, but my thing is, like, I'm gonna pursue my own music, you know, and I have been. It's just my Broadway schedule doesn't give me time to go in the studio, and you know, I'm so vocally tired by the time I get a day off that I'm like, ugh. So, you know, once I do get that freedom at some point, I definitely want to dive into my own music and really get that going, because that's where my heart is.
Are you ever fearful that you're gonna be stuck in the Michael Jackson character? Like, every time there's a Michael Jackson movie or series, you're the one that they call?
I can see that, but I don't want to be that. I don't want to be typecast. I don't want to be known as I don't want to be known as the Michael kid. You know, I remember how when I was on The Voice, my episode aired my freshman year of college. So immediately I was like
The kid from The Voice.
Kid from The Voice. Oh, you're the guy from The Voice. You're the guy from. So I remember I hated, and I don't hate a lot of things, but I hated that. And it felt so uncomfortable. It's like, that's why I don't even put Tony Award winner in my bio, Grammy nominee. I don't put none of that in my bio. When you say Michael Jackson, it's Michael Jackson. You don't say Grammy Award winning Michael Jackson. You know, it's just Michael Jackson.
Very rare air though. Not everybody gets that. You know.
No, and that's what I want to work towards. And I feel like building a foundation of not attaching an accolade or something like that to me helps build that. And if it turns into that, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least I tried, and I know where my heart was going through that process.
Why aren't you playing Michael in his biopic? I didn't know you weren't until I said that you should be.
Well,
and everybody was like, "Oh, somebody else." I think it's his nephew or something.
Yeah, Andre. Yeah, I think that's just not for me, man. That's just not that's just not for me.
Did they even reach out?
Yeah.
And you said you turned it down?
It was more so of a thing where it just did not make sense for me at that time, and I didn't see it making sense in the future either. Personally, I think that Jafar was the best option, for that. Because I mean, granted, like when I first started this, man, it's like I wasn't greeted with open arms. Like Michael's fans are protective. I ride with them with Beyonce fans, and Michael's not here no more. And they still are riding for Michael, like they can run into him at any point. And I respect that, and that's why when I first enter, and into my very first scene, when I first come on the stage, I respect that people do not believe me at all. I don't take, even accolades aside, I know that I have to earn everybody's belief, everybody's trust, everybody's respect each show, which is why I take them so seriously. But I say that to say, like, when I first got into this, a lot of the interviews that I was doing, like, as soon as I started, people want to know about the allegation, how I felt about it, all that type of stuff, right? And I'm like, one, that doesn't matter in this situation. I'm an artist. I have an obligation as an artist, right? I have to see things unbiasedly, with no bias, right? Because if I'm going into it like that, you're losing some of the artistry of it, right? And it's accepting everything that comes with that character, good or bad, true or not, right? But my thing is, like, to have to go through that again, knowing that the movie may focus more on that type of stuff, and it may get more into the nitty gritty of that stuff than my play does. I'm like, I don't want to go through that twice.
I get it.
So just think, I'm like, you know what? I think these feelings is God telling me, like, just. And I feel like that's so much better for Jafar to be a part of the family, to say, you know what, however he feels about it, I don't want to speak for him, but I feel like that's a way easier position to be in than somebody who's not related to the family, not involved with the family in any kind of way, on that close of a personal level. Like, Prince and I are cool. I love Prince Jackson. I love Paris as well. But
I'm glad the play didn't go there. I'm glad the play didn't go there, and I'm glad the play didn't show him dying.
Don't tell us too much, man. A lot of people didn't see the play, man.
Well, that's y'all dumbass. Y'all should have been saw this work of art. Like, what is wrong with y'all?
A lot of people out there that's gonna go see the play this summer, so don't blow it up, because I ain't see it yet.
For sure.
I'm gonna see it next couple of weeks.
Did any of that affect how you approached the role, like all that controversy? Because, like you said, you're not even allowed to focus on the art. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody want to talk about everything else.
No, I mean, I had a much bigger task. The task was, there've been a lot of MJ projects that did not go well. I'd be damned if this is one of them and I'm a part of it.
Did you watch the Flex version?
Yeah, I watched everything. I did very submersive. I did a submersive study, from nuances to I try to get everything. But what I made sure I made very, very clear to Chris, my director. I said, if you're looking for somebody to, and this was in that moment of maturity that I was saying, maturing in real time. I was like, you're looking for somebody to impersonate Michael. I'm not your dude. I'm not your guy. I don't want to. That's not how I want to approach this. And I said, I have so much respect and so much love for the impersonators, because, like, that's that's how some people get their bread and butter. It's how some people feed their families. And I'm always gonna have respect for that. And they showed me so much love throughout this whole process. But I can't, and I would not like to approach this in that way. I want people to feel Michael. I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but that's the goal. That's what I want. That's what I want people to walk away with. I want people to walk away with a sense of understanding, and that's why Lynn is so dope. Lynn Otis, man, two Pulitzer Prize winner. Like, she, Black woman, wrote this book, and I'm just so blessed to be a part of it, man. Predominantly Black cast. Like, it really feels like a family, man. It feels like a family, and even our Caucasian counterparts, feel like a family. And I'm like, and going through this process, you learn that that's not always the norm.
Right.
And that's taught me to not take that for granted. And I love each and every single person on that cast and on the crew and in front of house, because the front of house, oh my gosh, man, they got to deal with some stuff. Because, we don't just get a regular Broadway audience, as you saw. We get concert goers. We get people who, love concerts. So we get those, whoa,
And the singing, yeah.
You know, people trying to get up and dance, and people, you know, blurting out stuff mid show, and I love that type of stuff because it lets me know that your heart is in it.
Right.
You know.
I gotta ask because I did ask earlier, but so did they ask you to do the biopic?
It was one of those things where it's like a super gray area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a super gray area, but it's not something that I pushed for.
Got you.
Like it's like I was very fine with letting how it was handled. I didn't feel the need to be interjected by it. You know, I got MJ Musical going. I'm like, this is enough for me anyway, so I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something I feel like I needed to fight for. But, you know, I trusted that they were going to find somebody that was great. And I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do on Broadway. You know, I feel like that's the extent of, you know, what I'm supposed to bring to Michael's legacy in this capacity. I feel like moving forward, what I'd like to bring, you know, to Michael's legacy is through Myles Frost and through my music and through my on-stage performance, performing my own music and my own songs. You know, that's how I'd like to continue Michael's legacy and showing that level of work ethic is not dead.
Have any of the Jacksons seen it yet? Janet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Tito, Marlon, and Jackie, they came all at the same time. And
Tito got big props in it.
Yeah.
There's a part where like Tito was the best musically or something like that.
Just
I
want
didn't know
to tell
that.
everything.
yeah, the most
huh?
musical. Yeah, because I'm.
Just tell us everything.
What? That's
No, that's like
the reason I say
like
that's
public
big is because
knowledge.
people always clown Tito historically growing up. At least our generation did. But I didn't know he was the most musical out of all.
Yeah, he picked up that guitar, and you know he's well versed in a lot of, you know, different instruments. You know, and just learning more and more about the dynamic. Jackie shared this beautiful story about a segment that we have in our show, and he was walking down the street. Like I think he's with a couple of his friends. Sees this guy walk past, and he's like, "That guy look like Michael." Right? Spins the block again. He says, Michael. Michael goes, Jackie. So, because Michael's wearing a disguise. And, you know, I think them even feeling comfortable enough to share those type of stories, you know, or even just going to a place where they have to reminisce and think about Michael in any capacity. You know, I can't imagine, you know, how tough that could be, especially after just seeing a show where we kind of go through their whole life that they lived. You know, so I'm super appreciative of that. You know, Prince has seen it multiple times. Paris has seen the show.
About Quincy, Janet.
I don't think Janet has seen the show. I don't think Jermaine has seen the show. I don't think Quincy has seen the show either. I mean, I'd love for them to see the show because I think, you know, my thing is like I understand how hard when you have had a connection with Michael, how hard it can be to watch the show and sit through it, you know, especially if you don't know what to expect, you know, and I'm just I hope they do come and see it because I'd love for them to experience that, you know, and just feel that energy.
Absolutely.
You know, and if not feel a Michael energy, to feel a good positive energy. Yeah, like I'd love for them to come see it. For sure.
It was beautifully done, man. And Myles Frost is definitely bigger than the role of Michael Jackson. Like I can't wait to see where, you know, what your career trajectory looks like. I can't wait to see where God takes you, man.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm so ready to put all of everything that I learned so much, man. The work ethic, Rich and Tone Telewaker, who taught me everything I know from from Michael choreography, Michael vocabulary, Michael, you know, the spirit. You know, they introduced me to the spirit. Rich and Tone danced with Michael from the History Tour all the way up until he passed away. And when I tell you, like, I did because like I said, they were kind of like one of my first dance teachers. We did a 3-week boot camp in LA. This is before I started rehearsing with the rest of the cast. And first day, I'm you know, warmed up. All they want to do is talk. They said, everything you think you know, you don't.
Wow.
Like everything. Just delete it. We know you got the role, you know, cool. But we're gonna start with a clean slate. You don't know anything. And they were absolutely right. Absolutely 112%.
Wow.
And, you know, I've learned things like doing a move. Just one move, whole song. Ankles hurting. You know, But they're like, you need to know what this feels like when you're tired. To continue to push through it when you're tired. You know, because there's gonna be a time, and we don't want you to get sloppy. You know, and it's like those very small things, those very small nuances, those very small details are things that I cannot wait to apply to my performances I'm like, because I want to continue on the legacy of those type of performances. You know, incorporating things. You know, not just singing and dancing in front of a LED screen. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's doing that. You know, everybody, you know, there's a certain, which I'm still learning, you know, but there's a certain algorithm, you know, there's a certain recipe to providing a certain type of MJ level performance. Like, if you realize, like, you know, in Michael's later years, I think Wembley '88, Michael Jackson's Bad Tour is the best performance I've ever seen. Best performance I've ever seen. And, you know, you'll notice that even though, you know, it's Michael's show, it's still 5 of them on stage. So the presence of that Jackson 5 presence is still there, because it's a certain, people get used to seeing a certain thing. So you have to continue to, it's a whole science behind it that I'm still learning, and I'm excited to, like I said, just apply it to myself.
Striving for that type of perfection though could hurt you. We saw that in the play.
I'll tell you this. Because you would ask back to when you asked me if I felt obligated to be at every performance. I did, and I also felt like I was obligated to give 100 million% to every performance, which I kind of still do. But I'll tell you, our opening night was February 1st of last year. The end of that week, I was out of the show for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow.
Because I had a stress fracture on my second metatarsal. It's like my second toe, like kind of like right here. And it was a overuse injury. And I'm so glad it was, because I was doing every show, boom, boom, boom. And the reason that it was fractured is because my second toes are longer than my big toe. So whenever I would do a toe stand, whenever I would initiate a moonwalk or initiate a side glide, that second toe would take the stress of that, you know, that movement. And that's not what it's built for. And I'm in penny loafers with no like padding or nothing like that. Like, there's no box in my shoe. Like, when I'm on my toes, that's my toes going like, help me, like get off me, you know. So with taking out all those things into account, because it was an overuse injury, I said, okay, I need to learn how to pace. I learned a lot about myself throughout this whole thing, man, mentally, you know, spiritually, emotionally, because I resonate so much with the story from a father-son perspective. And I've worked the majority of my years trying to get to a better place when it comes to that stuff and try to compartmentalize it. Now I'm living in it, and it's always tender. So dealing with the emotional backlash, you know, from that is tough. You know, and it's a constant struggle, it's a constant fight, which is why I know I can't do this for 5 years. You know, and shout out to Adrienne Warren for doing Tina for 5 years, because that's crazy. But she did that thing. But you know, because that emotionally, man, mentally, like, after I know my limits,
right?
You know, and I know that I still have a lot of growing to do. You know, I'm only 23. I'll be 24 on July 21st.
Big cancer energy.
Big cancer energy, always. You know, and so I know I still have a lot of work to do, and I'm not there yet. You know, to live in that space like that.
You on your way, my brother.
Right. We appreciate you for joining us.
You are on your way.
I'm gonna go see it the next time you perform, and I'm gonna bring the kids. I want to bring all the kids because my kids are Michael Jackson fans. So
for sure.
My son he tries the moonwalk. He tries the split, the little, you know, the lean thing. He tries
they
all the
do
time,
that.
busts his head open. But
they're gonna be Myles Frost fans after they see this play.
I hope
Man,
so.
thank
Well,
you.
ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
Myles
I have
Frost.
another prediction.
Yes, sir.
You will never have to worry about blue balls ever again.
Oh my goodness.
Trust me.
It's Myles Frost.
Trust me, Myles.
It's the
I'm gonna
Breakfast Club.
I'm gonna hold you up on that.
Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.